Welcome to Clever Edu Insights at AI.
Hey everyone, let's talk about winning. But I'm not talking about the kind of winning that leaves you totally drained and beaten up. Nope, we're gonna talk about a smarter way, a more elegant way to win, one that's all about strategy, not just pure struggle. I mean, you hear it constantly, don't you? Hustle harder, you gotta be on the grind 24/7. It's this whole culture that pretty much tells us the only way to succeed is to just work yourself into the ground. But what if that's just not true? What if there's another way? Well, you're right to ask, because thousands of years ago, one of the most brilliant strategists who ever lived, he had a completely different idea, a much, much more powerful way to think about victory. Okay, so first, let's just frame the problem we're all dealing with today. And it's a big one, that feeling of just being completely exhausted from fighting all the time in everything we do. Yeah, this idea of just using brute force, it's everywhere you look. In business, you see companies getting into these brutal price wars. If you're a student, it's pulling all-nighters, right? The whole idea is that if you just throw more effort at something, you'll get a better result. But here's the catch. That way of thinking just eats up our two most precious resources, our time and our energy. So what's the alternative, right? Well, to find it, we've got to go way back to the incredible wisdom of the legendary strategist Sun Tzu and his masterpiece, The Art of War. Just let that sink in for a second. The supreme art, the absolute highest level of skill, it's not about this big dramatic battle where you crush your opponent. It's actually about making that battle totally unnecessary in the first place. And that, right there, is the heart of this whole strategy. Think about it. A real physical fight is just messy. It's wasteful, you burn through resources, you take damage, and you never really know how it's going to turn out. But a strategic win, that's clean. It's efficient. You get what you want, and you save your strength for whatever comes next. Okay, so you might be thinking, that's cool for ancient generals, but what about now? Well, this isn't just some dusty old military idea. This principle is happening all around us right now. It shapes history, it shapes business, it even shapes global politics. A perfect example, the Cold War. Look, the USA and the Soviet Union could have literally destroyed each other, right? But they didn't have a direct hot war. Why? Because they fought a war of strategy instead. It was all about alliances, economic pressure, influence, a chess match that lasted for decades. And in the end, one side won, not by dropping bombs, but by strategically outplaying the other. And here's another incredible angle on this. Think about Mahatma Gandhi. He was up against the massive power of the British Empire. He didn't have an army. What was his weapon? Nonviolent resistance. He absolutely refused to fight them on their terms. Instead, he took the moral high ground, which completely confused and weakened their position. And just like that, he defeated a global superpower without ever fighting a traditional war. Now, let's bring it into the business world, because you see this everywhere. Take Apple. Instead of getting into a slugfest with Microsoft over who could build a slightly better PC, what did they do? They just changed the game completely with the iPhone. They created a whole new battlefield that they owned. Or look at Amazon. They didn't just get into endless price wars with retail stores. No, they won by building this untouchable system of convenience and logistics. They made the fight irrelevant. Okay, so all of these huge examples are fascinating, right? But the real question is, how does this apply to you? How can we use this supreme art in our own lives, at work, at school, with our own personal challenges? Because the core idea here is totally universal. Let's make it personal. Think about a really tough exam coming up. You have two choices. You can treat it like a big, scary battle that you have to win with sheer force. Or you could be a strategist. You can beat that challenge with smart planning instead of just grinding away for hours on end. Just look at this comparison here. You've got student A, the fighter. They're just throwing hours and hours at the books, no real plan, and they're just getting totally burned out. And then you have student B, the strategist. What do? They look at the exam, figure out the key topics, find the patterns, they manage their time and energy. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. And the result? It's incredible. Student B studies almost 50% less for a better result. Think about that. They basically won before the exam even started. They beat the challenge with strategy, not by overpowering it. That is what efficiency looks like. So you're probably asking, okay, how do I do this? Well, it really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, and this is huge, save your energy. Stop wasting it on pointless arguments or things that just don't move the needle. Second, anticipate the challenges. Know the battlefield, Understand the exam format, the key points in a negotiation, whatever it is. And third, win peacefully. A true win is when you get what you want without burning bridges or making enemies along the way. So, when you pull all this together, from ancient wars to modern business to your own life, one really powerful lesson just clicks into place. And the big takeaway across all of these fields is this: the smartest victories are won before the fight even starts. They're won with preparation and intelligence. Whether it's in the military, in business, or just in your personal life, the real work happens up front. It's all about setting things up so that your success is pretty much a given. That's really the core of Sun Tzu's wisdom, isn't it? And it's just as true today as it was 2,500 years ago. The goal isn't to fight harder, it's to think smarter. It's not about being the most exhausted person in the room, it's about being the most effective. So, I'm going to leave you with a question. Look at the week ahead. What's one battle you can win without fighting? Is there a pointless argument you can just step away from? A project you can plan out more strategically? A challenge you can outsmart instead of just trying to overpower? Think about it, and then go win it.
Don't forget to subscribe.